This is how you turn cold leads into sales using video across your entire customer journey to build that personal connection. Welcome to Business Got Personal. This podcast is brought to you by VideoAsk, and I'm Alex Antolino, your host and creative director at VideoAsk. In this episode, we have Jamie Bright, CEO at Brighter Together Masterminds, and in the next 20 minutes, she'll give us the tactics she used using her emotional intelligence to build that personal connection with customers or potential customers. Hello, Jamie. How are you?
I am great. How are you, Alex?
I'm awesome. Thanks for being on the show. I am really excited to have this conversation because I feel like we're going to talk a little bit more of like not just leads, generating leads, or not just like getting conversions, but I feel like in this conversation, we're going to take a more holistic approach to the entire customer journey. And I'm really excited because I don't think we ever talked about this before, like in such a holistic way. So I'm really excited. The first question I want to ask you is how can we, because let's get into the meat, let's get something specific, and then we'll getting like we zoom out a little bit. But I want you to just pick your brain really quick. Just give me one thing that we can do to turn cold leads into customers or into like maybe more warm leads with video.
Yes. So what I love about video is how personal it is. And so I actually have converted a lot of my opt-ins from a traditional form on a website with a landing page straight to a video ask. And so instead of, having somebody come in and read all of this stuff, I actually have I'll just link directly to a video ask that says, "Hey, so glad you're here," and do a little video in place of a landing page. And then just say, "Hey, would you like to do this?" Opt in, click the button, and they go through that. And then I send that personal video back. So this is pretty straightforward video ask usage, but I love with cold leads, especially to have that personal touch, that customized video back immediately, because it just stands out from what everyone else is doing. It's not just like this confirmation page with here's an email with whatever you downloaded. It's actually, you get that, but also you get this personalized video and people are blown away, especially when you've never met them at, oh my gosh, like and I do like to hold up a piece of paper with their name on it so that they know this is actually for them and not just, some random thing before they hit play. And it's simple, it's fast, it doesn't have to be long. It's just, "Hey, so glad you're here. Let me know if you have any questions or whatever. Check this out. You should check your email. You've got an email there." And that's it. And it's just super fast and easy. That's the quickest first way to blow their minds.
I love
cold
it.
lead.
I think, I really like what you said about holding the piece of paper. It never occurred to me, but it's actually a really nice way to make it very personal. To anyone watching here, have you ever thought about this? Or actually, have you ever done this? So when you're like sending a video to a customer or potential customer, have you ever considered writing like a piece of paper with their name or like a question just to make sure that they feel that there's a real connection and this is actually made for them? Actually, I really like this. And okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. I think that's already a good start. And I never thought that video ask could be used as a landing page. It makes sense. It makes sense because you have the interaction, you have the call to action capabilities and things like that. And if you are building like a business based around your brand and your person, basically, I think that's a smart way to use the tool.
Can I mention too? I don't have them respond first, because there's probably some hesitation there. Like if they have to respond, like, "Why do you want this?" I just have a button that goes straight to the call to action, so that or to the opt-in. So that way it's not like they have to be like, "Wait, I have to send a video," or you want to get rid of that friction. And so it's literally just my video, a little text on it, and then sign up button. So just Smart. To be clear on how I use it.
Straight to the point. Yeah. Honestly, this is something that we've realized with talking with customers. For example, Stanley from one of the first episodes, he was using VideoAsk also in the similar way, where he was having VideoAsk on his landing page, and he was also super straight to the point, short questions, don't explain everything on this video, and it really worked out well for him as well. Jamie, tell us a little bit, give us like 1 minute context to like who you are and like what made you become like this, I don't know, like video marketing ninja or something like that.
Video and marketing ninja. I like it. So my name's Jamie Bright. I have been a full-time online entrepreneur since 2011. I originally started in the photography space before then with my own photography business. Then I started teaching photographers how to get clients. And that went great until COVID hit. Had this beautiful 7-figure business. I had started using VideoAsk to collect testimonials and reach out to people more. And then I lost 85% of my income overnight. And the little 15% I had left from the people who didn't leave my membership dwindled pretty fast. And so I had to make a big pivot, which was actually such a gift, even though it was the hardest thing I've gone through in a long time, because I had been wanting to really take what I had learned about building a movement and simplifying a business to make it really sustainable and create a lifestyle around it that's really not just hustle, 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 but actually gives you the freedom and the life that you want without taking up all of your time. I wanted to start teaching that to online entrepreneurs and creating and running masterminds, because that's where my heart is. Because I think so many people think they need more education, or they need this they do FOMO marketing, like there's fear of missing out. So I've got to be here and I got to be there and I got to do, and it's like, you don't need any of that. And I wanted to help shift those mindsets and bring people together. And so actually it was a year ago today, as we're recording this, that I made the decision to close my old business and really go all in with this. Yeah, I call it alignment day because
Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary for the alignment day.
Well, thank you. I didn't actually start the new one for another month, but it was a big day for me. So so I went all in with that and just really started taking all of these things I learned and thinking about, okay, starting over now, 10 years in, is so different than when I started initially, because I just have so much more experience. And if I can bring a bunch of people into the room that have similar experience and we can really grow from each other and leverage that, it's going to be amazing. So that's where I am today. I am running masterminds for online entrepreneurs. And VideoAsk, I should get this part where you said the video ninja part. As I was looking at all of my expenses and trying to figure out, with all of this loss of income, what do I get rid of? Because, it collects. You collect all these memberships and payments and whatever over time. VideoAsk was one of the few things that I kept. There are very few things that I kept going forward because I knew how valuable it was. And I knew that, especially with wanting to do something a little bit more high ticket, I needed a lot higher trust, and that the ability to have this personalization and have real conversations with people would not only stand out from everybody who's trying to scale and do more mass marketing, but it was really a way to create that trust very quickly when they could get that video straight from me.
I like that. So personalization definitely helps you, especially when you're trying to build a brand around yourself, right? And
Absolutely.
I like how you're building this community in this mastermind, and at the same time you're using video in different ways to start building that first connection, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess my next question, my natural question after what you just said, would be, is it possible to actually scale one-on-one personal conversations? Is it possible with video?
Yes, but you have to do it in a way that you might not think. You have to let go of a little bit of control, honestly, because you can't. My old business, I think we had 119,000 on our email list when I stopped growing that. And there's just no way I could do 119,000 videos myself. And so part of it is knowing what are the actual points of leverage where having that personal video makes the most sense. If you're just sending a random video out of the blue, yeah, sure, they might be touched by it, but they might be like, why is she sending me this? Whereas if you can do it at a point of leverage, those really impactful points. So when they're first trying to get to know you, that can be a big point. When they're trying to make a purchasing decision, that's a huge, very leverageable point. Also, right after they buy, when they're all excited, but then we go through this buyer to remorse period where is this really worth it? Is it going to work? If you can touch that touch them personally. That sounds so dirty, but you know what I mean? You can have that personal touch. You can have that personal touch in those moments. It helps reassure them like, oh, this is going to be okay. And so you identify those moments, but then you also have to be able to transfer some of that authority to your team members as you scale, because you will grow. I mean, if you're growing fast, it's going to be hard to get to every single person yourself. That's all you'll be doing. But you can bring on a team. You absolutely, and you're going to need that if you're growing to thousands of people anyways. You can bring other people on to help you do that. And it's just as effective, giving them that welcome and, helping them see that, okay, this is something bigger than just a single person too. So it's not bad. So it has to be done differently, and it has to be done incredibly intentionally.
I like it. I like all the already, like, you watching, you can get your notepad and start writing notes, because like I am already taking the written hand kind of thing. I'm already taking the like different videos on different touch points. And I think like I'm going to ask you about this later when we get a bit more specific on tactics. But while you were talking, I was wondering, how do you approach when you make video? Because I know this is like a big barrier for a lot of people. They just don't know how to do it. And we've created a lot of content already on this channel about this. But I wonder, how do you approach video when you are trying to build that connection? Do you always record it, I don't know, with your phone? Do you have like a good mirrorless camera that you use for certain touch points? Or like, what is your approach? Do you use the same camera, or do you change the cameras for like different touch points?
Yeah, for me, I use my phone and I take it wherever I'm at with whomever I'm at. I mean, I don't, when I'm hanging out with friends, I don't necessarily do it then. But for example, I'm an ultra runner and I spend a lot of time training out on the trails. And so if I have one come in and I might be a sweaty mess, but I will grab my phone and I will welcome them. And I'll be like, forgive the whatever, I'm out on the trail. I just saw that you purchased this. I wanted to welcome you. And the reason I do that is because then it's real. They feel like they're getting to have a little part of your life. I mean, I've done it when I've had my kids around, like, hey, my hair's, all morning hair, whatever. I got my coffee. I've got kids piled in my lap, and I'll grab it and I'll just be like, hey, I'm here with my son Olaf, and like, and we're just wanted to welcome you. And it doesn't have to be long. It takes all the pressure away. And people are like, it gets past their ad filters, because we see polished video and we see all this stuff, and it doesn't seem real. And so when you can send something, I mean, and that at first was kind of like scary because you want to be all professional and whatever else. But if you really want to build trust and have it customizable, like, this is what a friend would do. And that's what I'm always thinking about is, if we can show them that we like, this is part of our lives and it's okay. Like this, I connect with people who have lots of kids because I have lots of kids and I'm disheveled and whatever. It takes all the pressure off of them for being perfect. And then later when I'm asking them for testimonials or other things where they submit video, I could just tell them, it doesn't have to be perfect, whatever, just take it wherever you can, as long as there's not a ton of background noise, like at a restaurant or something, just grab your phone to take it. If your kids are there, I don't care, it's fine. And those build that authenticity, and it takes away the pressure because I've already done. I mean, when I'm a sweaty mess and I'm like red faced, I'm like, hey, I'm glad you're here.
That's it.
There's just exactly. There's no pressure for them to perform either. So,
I love this. This is actually so smart that you're making the first step of like coming across as you are, natural, and then that makes them also kind of like live up to the same values and like just like show up as they are. And this, as a byproduct, generates real, authentic, credible testimonials. I think this is so smart how you put it out like that.
Thank you.
So now you were talking and I was wondering, when you put a video as, let's say someone buys, subscription to your mastermind group or something like that, is that like a real video that you get like on a notification and then you reply instantly, or do you have this fully automated, or how does it look like for you?
Yeah. So for my mastermind, I actually don't have a video set up to welcome them for that, but I do for the workshop that kind of comes in when they're a brand new cold lead.
Right. Okay.
Because so when they join my mastermind, I'm actually jumping on a one-on-one meeting with them. I probably should set one up. I want to use it more for onboarding. I mean, no, it's on the list of to-dos. Like I could pull it up and show you, but I do try and get back to them as quickly as I can. So when they when they buy my workshop, which kind of comes before about launching their own mastermind, that is where I'll get a notification on my phone through the app, and I get both a text through my thing and the app. So I'm less likely to miss it because I always see the like purchase text and I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, just waiting for the video ask, because they cannot get access to my product to the workshop until they go through it. I'm like, here's how you get access. And so I actually ask them, why did you join? And you can send a video or text or audio. And then I ask them to filter in questions, because my goal is to get these, the people coming into my world into my masterminds. And so this is like a $37 workshop teaching them how to do their own thing. So I say, are you for sure launching a mastermind, or are you just curious about it? Or do you already run one? So I kind of want to know, because it gives them everything they need to launch their first mastermind. So I ask that just to segment them. And then the third question, the final question is, are you currently in a mastermind or are you not? And what this does, and then it redirects them into the workshop content. And so that's how they go and they can log in and whatever else. And so it's a little mini onboarding that lets me know why they're buying, which is super valuable for me. And then I use Zapier to connect it to my email database. So all of my customers are immediately segmented. So again, this comes down to scaling personalization. If somebody already is in a mastermind and doesn't need they're not going to be as likely to join mine as if they haven't been in one. And so I can also set up automations later where I email different people, but it allows me to have a little bit of material to speak to them as well when I reply in my video. So I can be like, hey, I love why you joined. I'm so glad you're thinking about adding this to your business. And or hey, it's cool that you're curious about this. You should get your questions answered in the workshop, but if not, let me know. And it lets me personalize that first video response to them, which again blows their minds as well and builds that trust, because it's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, you can reach out to me here. I use it a little bit for that Q&A or almost customer service. Not a lot of people do too much there, but sometimes I'll get messages back, and it's such a fast trust builder. Like, oh my gosh, she gathered information so she could speak to me directly. I get to segment them so I can send them more relevant emails. Like I can talk about why you would want to join a mastermind, or maybe why my mastermind is different if they ever want that, because maybe they're not happy with the one they're in. And it's so valuable. So I use it for onboarding when I get the sale there. And that's been a game changer in a big way.
I love it. And also this idea of you replying, because honestly, I mean, not all we're going to have 1 million followers on Instagram, or 1 million people buying our online course or product or something like that, which would be maybe a little bit more complicated to make it personal. But if you're in a scale where you maybe get, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 10, or maybe even 20, 30 purchases a day, which actually adds up a lot monthly. So if you're in that scale, maybe it's possible for you to make this, this little effort of sending a little, probably you send 30 seconds, 1 minute video or something like that.
Yeah.
And that just generates this wow effect, right? There's oh, wow, they took the time to connect with me. And I experienced that when I was getting questions on my Instagram, also using VideoAsk, and people would be like, oh wow, you responded in with a video with 24 hours, and wow, you took the time. I don't know, I really like how you're leveraging this part of the product. Let's go back to what you mentioned before about these touch points, and this is something that is really useful, I feel, to everyone watching. If you have an online course or a mastermind group, or you offer coaching or any kind of service, you're probably gonna have your marketing funnel, and you're gonna be collecting leads, and you're gonna be then trying to turn those leads into customers, and then trying to make them stay and maybe buy something else in the future, right? So Jamie, tell us a little bit, what are the touch points that you have identified, and how you use video to build trust in different ways in each one of those touch points?
Okay. So, and I'm going to refer back to some of the things I was doing in my old business too, because
Mhm.
I don't have everything fully built out with the new one yet. But it really starts with that very first. I think some of the main things are that first impression is really big. So, like you said, if you can get back to them in 24 hours, and I don't always do it immediately. And on the weekends, I'm often in the woods off the grid, and I wait until Monday. I think it's good to model good boundaries anyways. But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
if you came back to them quickly and you can give them that touch, or your team can, it doesn't have to be you. Again, it really doesn't take a lot of time to sit down, and do, even if you've got 100 of these, if you have somebody else doing that, that's maybe what, 2-3 hours. And if somebody else, it doesn't cost a lot to pay a team member to do that for the return that comes. Like, that first impression is so valuable. Like, and it will stand out from how many of your competitors are doing it. Like, it's a great way to stand out from everybody. So that's number one, is if you can get that, that's hugely valuable. And if you can't, it's okay. Like, they're not expecting it. Life goes on. But if you can, it's phenomenal. Second, at any points that um, are really key moments. So any points of conversion where they might have a question, which my mentor, Stu McLaren, he goes, every question is a veiled hesitation. And so, like, if they're asking you a question, it's a hesitation about buying your product or joining your thing or whatever it is. And so if you can be there to answer that and start paying attention to some of those answers, you can then, add stuff so that maybe the future people won't ask it, but it's really insightful and really maybe everything they need just to get over that little buying hump. And especially if you do something high ticket, there's going to be a lot of hesitations. Is it really worth it? Is this worth my time? All these things, especially when you're not like, I'm going to teach you X, Y, Z. It's like, no, I'm going to put you in mastermind groups and you're going to leverage each other's experience. And it feels a lot harder to, I know the value of it, but there's more questions in higher ticket and in things that are, not like super crazy specific in terms of the outcome that they're going to get. It's not like I'm going to be
Right.
like, you're going to collect, huh?
No, I was gonna say, even like with like specific things, online courses that should be like pretty clear. You have like all the modules there specifically described and everything. There's like, people do FAQs for a reason, right? So if you're, like you say, if
Totally.
you're selling like a high ticket, maybe it's worth for you to take like that minute or those 30
Oh,
seconds
for
to
sure.
reply to make that sale, right? If it can
Well,
make a
and
difference.
everyone feels different. They're like, yeah, but will it work for me? And that's why custom video is so great, because you're going to answer it, but you're going to answer it in their specific context. And so everyone feels like their situation is different than maybe the stories or the examples or, whatever it is. And so points of conversion are definitely really key. I also think when you can welcome people, again, this is a starting point. So starting points, points of conversion or decision are huge. Starting points so once they join, there's a book from Joey Coleman called Never Lose a Customer Again. And he
Mm-hmm.
talks about this emotional journey that I'd recommend it to anybody. And what happens to us is, after we invest in something, especially if it's a higher priced product, we're like, is this really going to be worth it? And we might have a little buyer's remorse. That's why a lot of places have laws where they give you like a 3-day window where you have to refund by law, at least in some states in the US or whatever else, because they know that people say, oh my gosh, maybe this wasn't worth it. And maybe I made a mistake. And that's very, very, very normal, because we get this high from like buying and we're all excited and we believe it. And then that dopamine kind of like trigger, like slowly fades away. And then we're like, oh man, was this good? So if we can welcome them in those moments and like give them a touch point and reassure them that this is great, we're excited, here's what your very first next step is going to be, or whatever it is. Like, if you do an onboarding thing and say, what do you need most help with most? If it is a membership and you give them a couple of options, you could actually send them directly to that right then and there, so they know where to go and there's no question and they can get the quick win and all that stuff. So that's another point, is that welcome point. Anytime you are crafting experiences for your clients, if you understand the emotional journey they go through, speaking to some of the key drop-off points is big as well. So, for example, I used to help photographers book their first 2 paying clients when they switched into working with entrepreneurs. They called it personal brand photography. And so I gave them a script to use. They'd put it out there, and if it got in front of the right people, they would book clients. It worked great. I love copy, so it's a big thing. But they would put it out there, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, what if nobody books? And what does it mean about me? And what are my friends going to think if I don't get people?" And you get confident, you put it out there, and then you have this vulnerability hangover. And so I would that's a moment where if I could connect with them and really let them say, "Hey, I'm feeling like crap, reach out." And then I can just be like, "Hey, this is normal." When you can normalize the difficult parts of the experience and say that everyone goes through this. I've been doing the online thing full-time for 10 years, part-time a few years before that. I've launched dozens of times, different things. Day 2 of Open Cart, I always feel like I'm going to fail. I don't care how good my numbers are. It's just a normal emotional, it's that vulnerability hangover. And so knowing those journeys and normalizing it and being able to touch them at those points are huge. When you're doing something if you're doing a course and you get to something that's a lot of work, giving them a chance to get feedback and get personalized, "Hey, it's okay. You've got this. You can cheer them on." That's big too. When you know the drop off points are coming, recognizing those and finding a way. But then again, once they're getting wins, and I think Justin Demers talked about this on your podcast. When you know the points where they get those wins and they're the most excited, using it to collect that and then thank them for that and reinforce that you're going to inspire other people. You didn't just do a solid favor for me. You actually are inspiring others to take action and reinforcing good behaviors and beliefs that you want to see more of, which sounds funny, but that can really build your community and that loyalty and make people want to do more and more of that. But also if you can use it to celebrate their wins. So I did this with the photography thing where when they would book clients, I would send them to a VideoAsk link and say, "Tell me your wins so we can feature you and you can inspire others." So it was like a testimonial, but it was like this celebration. And then I would send this celebration video back to you, "You're amazing. And this is awesome." And so there's all sorts of different ways, but the biggest ones I think are the beginnings. Also, if you do have a strict ending point to your thing, so if you do run a course over 6 weeks, the points that people remember highest, when they rate how it went, was the high or low point, the extreme. Was it a super amazing experience at one point, or was it a super terrible experience if they had that, right? So the extreme, and then the ending. That's from Heath and Heath in The Power of Moments. That's another phenomenal book. And so if you can think about what those points are and capture that high point, and then the ending, somehow use that to celebrate or show them the progress they've made. So you could capture video as they're making progress. And then, if you're using Zapier or something, put them together, and there's all sorts of things you could do if you really wanted to show them the progress they've made. It's really valuable.
So welcoming, helping, diffuse those doubts, celebration, and support. I really like how this can paints the picture and show. I mean, if I want to make a business, which is something that I've considered at some point, to sell some online course or start a mastermind group or something. This really helps me visualize my funnel and see how video is helpful in all the different stages of this funnel, but also there's different ways to approach it and different ways in which you can behave and be more supportive or more "Hey, congratulations." So yeah, that was awesome. Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and honestly, it really naturally leads into the next thing too. So when they're finishing something up, you can always be "Hey, I know you got these awesome results. If you want to keep working with me, I'd love to invite you personally," which is huge, "to consider joining me in this. I just think it'd be a great fit for you." It doesn't have to be pushy, doesn't have to be whatever, but it feels "Oh, you know me. We just had these conversations. You heard my results and you think I would be a good fit." And I've had people join my mastermind, or some who didn't, but were "I didn't even consider that because I didn't think I was at that level, but you see that in me and that's powerful." And so it's just that personal invitation at the right moments. Again, it's another point of conversion, but you can lead to that upsell point of conversion through a personal invitation.
Right. And you probably don't do it with everyone, right? It's just like the
Mm-mm.
people who you really consider, oh, I genuinely think this could help you.
Yes.
Let me, you know, offer you this other kind of support or like this next level of like connection or whatever.
For sure.
Awesome, Jamie. I really like this. I really like this because it's a very holistic view of like how to set up video marketing for your business. I feel like we've been talking in other episodes about lead generation, conversions, testimonials, and I like how this conversation helps me at least tie everything together. So it probably help you watching to get some ideas on how you can use video for all these different things and how you can actually change your behavior to be more supportive or more celebratory with like the people you're working with. Jamie, thanks so much for this conversation, for being on the show. If anyone watching wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, I have a podcast called Bright Entrepreneur Podcast. It's brightentrepreneur.podcast.com. And I'd love to have you as a listener. So thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. And to you watching, Jamie and I will be here next days answering questions. So if you have a question, you want to talk more about something else, feel free to leave us a comment and also let us know if you like the content by liking this video and showing your support by subscribing, because you know what? There's more of these great videos coming. And I don't know about you, but I'm learning a lot with all the guests that we're having on this show. So hope you're learning too. And if that's the case, let us know. In the meantime, I'll watch you in the next video. Bye.